Welcome back to The Explainer. Today we're exploring the Open Doorway, a cinematic overview of all-inclusive organizations. We're going to look at a deeply painful, incredibly modern reality that, let's be real, almost everyone watching has experienced. I'm talking about trying to find a meaningful starting point in today's workforce. Right now, entering an organization feels literally like trying to breach a medieval fortress. And as we'll see as we go through today's source material, this structural reality is quietly breaking the spirit of a highly motivated generation.
Okay, let's dive into this, because this exact sentence right here, it is the ultimate heartbreak. You know the feeling. You pour your absolute, honest, most truthful state of being into an application, or maybe a 30-minute interview where you enthusiastically share all your best ideas, just to be met with this cold, robotic, boilerplate rejection a few weeks later. And the absolute worst part? You just know they could have sent that exact same email to someone they never even spoke to.
Section 1. The Closed Door. Sincere interest meets locked fortresses. Right now, we're dealing with corporate structures that basically operate like isolated little kingdoms. They're entirely built around rigid selection.
And this creates an incredibly maddening, frustrating paradox. You need experience to get opportunities, right? But you need opportunities to get the experience in the first place. When sincere human drive goes head-to-head with an automated gatekeeping system, while the gatekeeper almost always wins, and the human being is just left wondering what on earth they did wrong after 19 or 20 years of relentless, exhausting competition in the education system.
If you're feeling totally burned out by this, the source material we're analyzing today completely validates that feeling. Treating employment as an endless, zero-sum competition just wastes profound human potential. It's not humane, and frankly, it's not even efficient. The true potential of a human being comes from being perceptive and involved, not from constantly fighting a simulated war just to get a foot in the door. Section 2. The Shared Soil. Organizations are not on planet Saturn. So how do we actually fix this? It requires a massive philosophical pivot from corporate isolation to community integration.
Because, let's be honest, organizations are not on planet Saturn doing things us Earthlings can't possibly comprehend. They exist on shared human dirt. They operate inside real neighborhoods, they use shared infrastructure, and at the end of the day, their products are always for human beings. Because they're a part of our society, they absolutely have a societal duty to be permeable.
So, the crucial point is, this isn't about an organization completely dropping its standards. An all-inclusive organization is not an organization without standards. It's simply an organization with more than one doorway. Employment is one relationship you can have with a company, sure, but it shouldn't be the only way to learn, participate, or contribute to meaningful work.
Section 3. The Upward Helix. A genuine place to begin. If we do open more doorways, how does a person realistically walk through them? Let's move to and see how this builds through the participation ladder. It starts right at the base with open access, things like public workshops and open learning. Then it moves up to local exploration, like brief shadowing. From there, you get voluntary contribution, which is basically low-stakes community projects. And eventually, this naturally develops into mentorship, micro-internships, and formal employment.
Just imagine the impact of this. Think of a high school student growing up in a place like Newark. Right now, they might feel completely disconnected from those shiny corporate towers downtown. But under this model, they could spend an occasional Saturday at a local company they admire. Over a month, they log a few low-stakes volunteer tasks. Fast forward a year, and without the immense, stressful pressure of an aggressive interview process, they've built a verified resume and a real relationship.
And this brilliantly illustrates why low-stakes involvement matters so much. You can basically test drive a career, and if you realize, hey, I actually don't even like this industry, you can just walk away unharmed. You have total freedom to leave at any time, but you still get to take a trustworthy, verified record of your contribution to build up your resume. It's a total win-win. Section 4. Infrastructure and guardrails, making permeability safe. Now, I know exactly what the realists and cynics out there are thinking. How do we actually implement this without overwhelming small businesses or encouraging wage theft?
Now, what's really interesting about this is the concept of proportional responsibility. This proposal doesn't demand that a tiny 5-person startup do this. But if a massive company has the scale that process and send out 100 to 1,000 rejections every single month, well, they clearly have unmet interest from the public. At that scale of wealth and administrative power, they have a proportional responsibility to open up a volunteering department and give that sincere human drive somewhere to actually go.
But to prevent any kind of exploitation, there are absolutely strict ethical guardrails. Participation must be entirely voluntary, reversible, and non-binding.
It absolutely cannot replace paid entry-level workers or fill staffing shortages. It is never, ever a requirement for a paid application. Plus, ownership, privacy, and attribution rules must be crystal clear before any work begins to ensure we protect vulnerable job seekers and minors.
To manage all this, each department needs a steward. These stewards organize the work, making sure that secure, regulated, or IP-sensitive tasks remain strictly internal and paid. Meanwhile, they carve out safe, low-stakes, open contribution tasks that the public can actually help with and learn from.
And how do we coordinate all these moving parts without totally overwhelming those stewards? Well, through AI. Artificial intelligence can act as a live, constantly updated map of available tasks, perfectly matching a volunteer's skills with the right permissions. It makes this highly complex coordination cost-effective and secure, all while empowering the human steward to focus on what actually matters, welcoming and mentoring the participants.
Now, if you're wondering if massive, unstructured volunteerism can actually work in the real world, the source points us to a fascinating case study, the Isha Foundation. This is a massive organization built almost entirely around broad volunteer participation, short-term, long-term, remote, in-person, you name it. And while it's a nonprofit, it proves the deeper principle here. Treating a human being's willingness to participate as inherently meaningful actually works on a massive scale, and it can absolutely be ethically adopted for the for-profit sector.
We need to build environments where natural curiosity can organically evolve into learning, contribution, and eventually employment. The missing puzzle piece in our modern economy is not the elimination of standards, it is the creation of meaningful places to begin.
The tools are here. The human drive is waiting. So the final question for leaders, organizations, and honestly, all of us is this. Are we going to keep building isolated fortresses with a single, highly competitive locked door? Or are we finally ready to open the doorway to human potential? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. I'll see you next time.